men. The book also includes such mic drop lines as, and I quote, "The most mediocre of males feels himself a demigod as compared with women." I've got to put that on a t-shirt. 2 decades later.
Ready? Let's do a thumbnail. Ready?
Another t-shirt
Ready?
slogan emerged. The personal is political. It objected to the boundaries of the private sphere that so much of our modern politics is based on.
Pause. Okay, I did some research on this because I knew they were messed up on. It hurts.
That's just as hard, if not physically more demanding than some of the inner works.
I got allergies and delicate hands.
I'm a single woman. I do what I have to do.
$10.8 trillion.
What the?
Okay, pause for a second. Okay, pause for a second.
What? That you lived?
No. Okay, that unpaid labor is your own personal housework, your own personal daily upkeep of being a human being.
Okay, this is what the Marxists do, okay? They're quantifying your part in society instead of thinking about things to make society better, holistically, interpersonally.
Different. Everybody's dynamics are different because every single couple has different. Yeah, they both have different.
Because this is all a version of performativity.
Okay, pause.
Not performance like playing dress up.
I just want to say.
I have so many thoughts.
You first.
And so, in order to resist the patriarchy, we must also unpack the legacy of colonialism. And then there are the democratic feminists, who argue that in order to keep the democratic dream alive, we must constantly reinvent what we mean by freedom, gender, and feminism. By all of it. In their view, this process of redefinition is part of the always incomplete project of politics. So what's my takeaway? Feminist political theory is so much more than just one thing. It's the very basic notion that women can think complex thoughts. But it's also questions of how gender, race, and class show up and intersect in women's everyday lives. And the future of feminism is being defined now.
If you're getting a migraine from this, we can kind of skip around or keep going. What would you like to do? Because I'm literally, this is, it hurts.
I know. Let's just power through it.
Are you
Let's
sure?
Just power through it.
Can we get a couple of things said first then? And then we'll get through the rest of the video. How does that sound? In the same way, the argument has been made for we would have ended slavery had there been a war or not been a war, because we would have evolved as a society to understand, that we don't, and then also not need it by technological advancements, as other people have said. I don't know. That's not my area of expertise on how that all unfolded. Point being, I think the actions and some of the accomplishments of other women I've seen throughout history speak to the fact that we could have had a move. We didn't necessarily have to have a movement. We could just step into the power that is, the feminine that complements the masculine, and just stepping into that is more of a productive and unifying way to go about, equality, or, in that manner, for women to have the same rights and ability to get all the benefits of the Constitution as men.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's been hijacked otherwise makes me smell a Marxist plot.
Marxism is everywhere and it's disgusting, and we need to outroot it from our system.
Okay, I'm at 2:25. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's go.
Title IX increased women's access to sports, and the Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision protected the right to abortion, which many people saw as essential to women's freedom. Although, That last one was overturned in 2022. So needless to say, abortion is still a very contemporary feminist debate. Anyway, this is all to say that feminists addressed a lot of inequalities by tackling particular laws and institutions. But they also work to expand our thinking about gender equality by pointing to problems in the very language we use. Again, with the abstract thought and reasoning. Like, in 1949, the French writer Simone de Beauvoir argued in her book, The Second Sex, that for words like equality to mean anything, we have to acknowledge that man and even human aren't neutral terms. Here's another way to think about it. Why do we just say basketball when we mean men's basketball? But we always specify women when we talk about women's basketball. These words conceal a distinctly male perspective, where women are
I don't think like that. Have you ever thought like that?
No.
Well, they're just making shit
Never.
up. That's what I'm saying.
And-
They're just making shit up to make men and women not like each other.
Yeah, and the whole thing about abortion, I'm sorry, okay, the whole thing about abortion, that is a decline on our society to allow that kind of morality to go on. That's all that is. That has nothing to do with feminism and, oh my God, that's an attack on a woman's body. Okay, being told what to do with your body is an attack on our body, but an abortion is an attack on an innocent life. A different subject. And they're conflating the two together, and it's driving me nutty. This is just, oh my goodness. I've never thought, basketball. Okay. You know what my next question is?
Where is
men or women or mixed?
Not even that.
Because,
I just
men and women play on a mixed team.
I don't.
Granted, that's not,
clue
on TV, but
dude, I don't.
When you say basketball, and I'm like, okay, men or women's.
When someone says basketball, I don't go towards. I don't know. I think about maybe me playing the game of basketball, other people. I don't know. Yeah. Lately, when you say basketball, I think of all this shit going on with women's basketball and how it's become entertaining because they can't get their shit together. And now it's giving them, like I always say, what do I always say to you, Nora? I say, quit making me defend the feminists by being degenerates. Stop it. We would not need this feminist bullshit if y'all would act right too. It's part of the problem. Anyways, let's get back to this bullshit. Are you ready? Oh, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
As the other, in contrast to men. The book also includes such mic drop lines as, and I quote, "The most mediocre of males feels himself a demigod as compared with women." I've got to put that on a t-shirt. 2 decades later.
Ready? Let's do a thumbnail. Ready? Ready?
Slogan emerged. The personal is political. It objected to the boundaries of the sphere that so much of our
genuine
politics is based on.
Pause. Okay, I did some research on this because I knew they were messed up on. It hurts.
It does. This is idiocracy. I will do my statement again. I am so glad PBS is being defunded.
Okay. They just equated all this other stuff. I can't even remember. I'm having temporary amnesia. But the personal is political thing, they made it sound like it was this whole other thing, and it was not said actually until 1970 by Carol Hansch when she was writing a paper that stated that we required collectivist action in order to correct things that were going on within the home. As in, if your husband is beating you, we need to make a law against that. Okay, so we take that down from that instance, and then she started adding this and this and that and the other until the personal is the political. So that is the actual historical background on that statement that they left out that is pretty important. And what I'm trying to get across from this, and giving us a break from the cringe for just a second, is that when anybody is leaving out an important information and they are only telling you the little bits that support their narrative, they're doing you a disservice, and it is complete manipulation. So don't fall for that shit. Okay, are we ready?
Yep. Let's do
1,
this.
2, 3, go.
The public sphere is a place where individuals get together to exchange ideas, and it's open to everyone. The private sphere is a smaller space, like a person's home, and you need permission to enter it. The slogan, "The personal is political," was another way of saying that things that feel like
Never
personal
mentioned Carol.
problems for a lot of women, like doing an unequal share of the household labor, are actually problems we should all be thinking about. Let's take a look at the numbers, shall we?
You can call pause if you need a timeout too.
According to Oxfam, if women had been paid minimum wage for all the unpaid labor they did in 2019,
why is this relevant?
$10.8 trillion.
What the
Okay, pause for a second. Okay, pause for a second. Unpaid labor.
What does that even
Okay.
mean? What, that you lived?
No.
Fucking...
Okay, that unpaid labor is your own personal housework, your own personal daily upkeep of being a human being. If you were not in a relationship, you would still have to do these things. It is called taking care of yourself, taking care of your house, and if you don't have a spouse, the other part, you still, if you own a home,
being productive
gonna
member
do
of
the upkeep
society
on your
is now
home?
unpaid labor
Oh my
because you
God.
need to be
Yes.
compensated
Taking
because
care of
I
your
should be
child is
paid to exist. Because I'm a that's
taking
what I
care of
think.
your child is unpaid labor. Doing your laundry, unpaid labor.
They sound like
Cleaning
an
your
insurance
house,
company. They
cutting
sound
your
like
lawn.
they sound
Oh
like
my
they
God.
do not.
Okay, so if women are only stuck on the household chores, let's think of retrospect here. The men do all of the housekeeping outside. That's just as hard, if not physically more demanding than
I ain't
some of the
mowing the
inner
fucking lawn.
works.
I got allergies and delicate hands.
I'm a single woman. I do what I have to do.
Done it.
You got to do your yard work. You got to do the upkeep. You got to, oh my God, this is just unfathomably stupid. Oh my God, what is wrong with these people? PBS, I am so thankful you're being defunded. This is the slop that you're trying to educate people with?
You paid for this.
All right, let's continue.
We don't need to say a damn thing against the Democrats. They just let them burn themselves to the ground, metaphorically speaking, with their
common sense.
Like, this is okay. So
this is just common sense, because
there's
if you're not in a relationship,
in the
there are
world to
some men
compensate what
who
they're
do
talking
the
about.
household chores too.
This is boiling down. Okay, this is what the Marxists do. Okay, they're quantifying your part in society instead of thinking about things to make society better holistically, interpersonally. Things that we have seen throughout the history of humanity, of coming together and doing things that are going to build a better society. Instead, they are doing things like quantifying your worth instead of saying men and women should complement each other in the things they do in the home. It is not feminine for a man to wash the dishes. It is called a division of labor, like you said, for household chores and things to exist. Childcare, there's a division on labor in that, and it doesn't put, we don't need to, the act of, I don't even know how you would quantify the labor of a parent, because a male is going to have different it's all a huge thing to divide by putting it in this frame. That's all it is.
Well, when you try to divide it in that frame, you can't quantify it properly because every single relationship is different. Everybody's dynamics are different because every single couple
My blood
has
pressure's going.
different. Yeah, they both have different ways that they contribute to their individual lives. And that's what pisses me off, because there are some men who are the stay-at-home dads who take care
That's
of the
fine
house
too.
inside and
It's
out, take
called-
care of the children while the wives are away.
There's
Vice versa. There are some women who do the same. There are some
called
relationships where they
parenting.
have
You're
a
a parent.
50-50 capacity in and out of the home, and it doesn't matter. As long as it works for that individual couple, that's all that
Can I
all
tell
that
you,
should matter.
I think
This stuff drives me nuts.
I think my relationship is a wonderful example of this, because making them personal political creates all kinds of bullshit. And this is how we've been able to survive. I love my husband, and we see each other on the level as human beings. When we had a child together, our child is extension of us, and he's like our best friend. We're all best friends with each other. And that's how it should be. And when you are like that, it doesn't fall back to mom does this and dad does this and we're quantifying this. It's that, hey, mom is in the position to help him start his laundry, and or he's older now, but you know what I mean. I'm just giving different examples of, like, no, we're helping each other, we're doing this thing called life together. That's what you're supposed to.
It's called teamwork. You have a
It's
family
not
teamwork
when we
dynamic.
quantify what it is for me to go do the dishes and make a loaf of bread. Like, why? For what purpose? We're just living our lives. We're not doing an economic. I mean, there's economics obviously involved with resources. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as far as that putting a
the
number
actual
figure
time being
on
spent
that
and turning it
is,
into pay.
it is dehumanizing, and I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
All
We
right,
ready?
let's do this.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. $10 trillion doesn't exist in the world. Let's go.
Of course, I got a
Where
commercial.
were we? If you saw the Barbie movie,
Oh,
you
there
know
we go.
that patriarchy
We're good.
isn't about horses. But it wasn't until the 1980s that political thinkers like Carol Pateman were getting us to think about patriarchy in the context of politics. Wollstonecraft previously identified a sort of similar concept, a quote, tyranny of man, which described how men held power over women and stood in the way of their freedom. But patriarchy did something a bit broader. It described a whole range of beliefs and values that oppress women, ones that are kind of hidden and baked right into our systems. Like, in 248 years, we haven't elected a woman president, despite having
So
no
what?
law against it. Clearly,
That was in
we're
the
influenced not
past.
only by concrete legal structures, but also embedded values and biases. And patriarchal attitudes can show up in our
Pause for
policies in all kinds
just a
of
second.
ways.
Okay, so they're twisting a narrative that is only specific to this country, because if you look at throughout history, how many women have taken roles of leadership? Nope, all right,
Let's
I'm
roll.
ready to roll when you are.
Hey, I've got good news. We're almost halfway through. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
The failure of police departments to prosecute rape crimes, to the fact that women get shamed for breastfeeding.
I guess I could turn it up.
Never a good look, shamers. Shifting the focus from the
All
tyranny
different
of
issues.
man to patriarchy made clear that the root of women's oppression ran deeper than just individual men in power. And it also made room for the fact that women can and do adopt patriarchal beliefs. So yeah, not all women are feminists. And in not so breaking news, women don't all experience the world in the same way. Feminist scholar Kimberly Crenshaw spoke to this in 1989 when she described the ways that gender doesn't just operate in isolation. She pointed out that society's perception of race, class, and gender work together to influence women's lives. She called this intersectionality, which brings me back to the story I started with. of the trans woman Amy Stevens. As feminist political theory continues to evolve, questions of what feminism stands for and who it speaks for are still up for debate. One of the biggest debates within feminism today has to do with the idea of essentialism. A gender essentialist would argue that there's some set of properties, maybe biological, maybe metaphysical, that we can point to as the defining features of being a man or a woman. And those things can't be changed. But it gets really messy here because it's not easy to identify or agree on what those features are. Am I a woman because I have a uterus? Because I grew up playing with Polly Pockets and wearing yoga pants? Philosopher and gender studies scholar Judith Butler offers another way of thinking about this. They argue that gender isn't something we are, but something we do. Certain behaviors, like how a person walks or sits, or the way they dress or style their hair. Butler says this is all a version of performativity.
Okay, pause.
Not performance like playing dress up.
I just want to say.
I have so many thoughts.
You first.
Okay. So being feminine does not make you a woman, or having feminine traits does not make you a woman. Biologically speaking, that is what makes you a woman. That is it. A woman can be as masculine as a dude and still be a woman. And a man can be as feminine as the most feminine woman, but he is still a man. This is enough.
Now,
I have things on the transgender movement. It's alone. We can get into that later. But just because you do or do not wear a dress, just because you do or do not like pink or played with a Polly Pocket growing up, that does not make you a woman.
why is that confusing? Where's the confusion? The confusion is the devil, which is evil, which is communist Marxist ideologies. Furthermore,
it's giving into a grand delusion.
Yes, go ahead.
It's giving into a grand delusion, and that grand delusion is feeding into other unhealthy aspects, and it is allowing this to continue and run rampant because, again, confusion stems
concealing the
from
truth. That's
Marxist.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yep. This is a Marxist tactic, and I am just done with it.
Yeah. And it's like the same thing
All
too.
right,
the reason that I paused it, I'll be brief, but these terms of essentialism, and I may add some more stuff in, or we'll actually, I'll look up some of the definitions of this because it is important to hit on these terms such as essentialism and performity are being construed. There are larger philosophical concepts that they're just throwing in here, sort of buzzwords for different kinds of things. But once again, they are utilizing those and manipulating that. And they're going to get into it here in a second. And so that I have watched this all the way through. So to prevent having to pause it in just a moment, I want to say they talk about TERFs, the trans exclusionary radical feminists and stuff, and they exclude them because later on they then talk about the reformist, the radical, there's different subsets of feminism, and they do not include the TERFs in that. So I just wanted to point that out. So, all right, I'm ready when you are. 3, 2,
Let's go.
1.
Or when I played the title role in the esteemed middle school production of Cinderella. A stellar performance, by the way. Rather, Butler's saying that we make our gender through our words and our embodied ways of being in the world. In that sense, it's not only trans people who perform gender, it's all of us. But a vocal minority of feminists called trans exclusionary radical feminists, or TERFs, argue that this perspective threatens all of the progress we just walked through. In the words of one such activist group, If, as a matter of law, anyone can be a woman, then no one is a woman, and sex-based protections in the law have no meaning whatsoever. These are some of the loudest voices behind laws that ban transgender people from using public bathrooms.
That's at least logically consistent.
Gender identity. And in a big way, I found that questions like this, who feminism is for, who it should protect, and at whose expense, have always been part of the story.
Because it's not about anything feminine.
Weren't exactly inclusive with their definitions of mankind. Feminist definitions have always contained assumptions that include some and exclude others. For example, Black feminist thinkers like bell hooks have argued that all too often, feminism has claimed to speak for all women, but really only spoken for middle and upper class white women. We can see evidence of this from the earliest days of the feminist movement.
We called everyone that had a vagina a woman because it wasn't hard up until 5 minutes ago.
During the civil rights movement, many Black feminists felt so unheard by white leadership that they left and started new movements, like womanism, a form of feminism focused on the experiences and concerns of Black women. So defining, redefining, and expanding the definition of woman is both as old as feminism itself and as contemporary as this very moment. Like a lot of women today, I'm left with a burning question. Where does feminism go from here? Reformists say there's more work to be done at the legal and institutional level.
This is when they start telling the different types.
Legislation and representation. Whereas radical feminists are focused on dismantling patriarchy. They argue true feminism can't be achieved
and being ugly.
The root of the problem through constant deconstruction and reconstruction of our cultures. But exactly how to go about this isn't so straightforward. Among radical feminists, there are those like Maria Lugones, who represent decolonial feminism.
This is a good one.
She argued that our modern ideas of gender emerged during and as a result of European colonialism to indigenous communities that related to gender in more nuanced ways. And so, in order to resist the patriarchy, we must also unpack the legacy of colonialism. And then there are the democratic feminists, who argue that in order to keep the democratic dream alive, we must constantly reinvent what we mean by freedom, gender, and feminism. By all of it. In their view, this process of redefinition is part of the always incomplete project of politics. So what's my takeaway? Feminist political theory is so much more than just one thing. It's the very basic notion that women can think complex thoughts. But it's also questions of how gender, race, and class show up and intersect in women's everyday lives. And the future of feminism is being defined now as much as ever. So stay tuned. Next time, we'll talk about another slogan. Think local, act global. What does that really mean? And is it a good idea? See you then. Thanks for watching this episode.
Okay.
Unpack it for us.
That was so stupid. Oh my god, that was so stupid. A lot of those things are taken so far out of context. She's just, oh my god. That was asinine.
I know. I thought you'd enjoy your tax dollars hard at work.
I will go back to my original statement. I am so glad that PBS is being defunded. Because if they were making crap like this, are you serious? No wonder why we are in such a social decline.
USAID being defunded has changed the media landscape forever and ever. I don't give a fuck what you think about Elon Musk. The fact that he went in there and wiped that out has done more for society. In the future, I know it, Nora, there will be statues and monuments built to both Elon Musk and Donald Trump for their good work to society. I don't give a shit the other kind of things. Yes, there's different things about him as a man, but we cannot just...
Yeah, I agree. Oh my god, this is just dumbfounding.
So, we're trying to stay on topic about feminism. Did not mean to get lost on the USAID, but that just goes along the same lines of
It
thinking
ties
of
in, and it
collectivism.
shows the collective mind rot and why we have such a massive social decay. And these are the steps that we are trying to show so we can
This is
make
so
a
bad.
change. Tying
Just
everything
so
back
bad.
around. We'll circle back around to the beginning of the show. This is why we are talking about it, because we want to make sure that we bring awareness to so we can stem change. So next time, what are we talking about next time?
I'll let you know next time, because that was a trip right now. We actually did not get to a lot of the other stuff, but I feel like that was required viewing to really set the stage of this, because people just think I'm being a provocateur. And yeah, I am a lot of the time doing that, but it's too easy of material. Feminism is too easy of a target to not fucking destroy. Are you ready for on our mission of taking down feminism? We're going to conclude part 2. Final thoughts, madam? I can't wait.
I'm still dumbfounded by this. So I guess next time we'll just continue on with the stuff that we didn't get to and go from there. And
I love it.
let's stop this malarkey.
Amen. All right. Thanks, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it. Bye.